Hey everybody, it's me. Getting ready to tell you my moving experience. I'm just looking around for a light because we're having one of those scheduled blackouts. So give me a minute, be right back. Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel. This is Steven from Where Else Philippines. And today I want to give you the story of our move. In prior videos, you've seen the house I rented in Alabang. It was a big house, a lot of bedrooms, a lot of space, living room, dining room, kitchen big enough to eat in. It was marvelous. Small but adequate yard, but it was still a rental. And rents were going up. So we decided to take that next step and get some property. Hopefully it had a house already on it, and relocate. And we chose moving to the province in Batangas. The move took a few months. We had to make some steps to get the house prepared. The move we made took a while. We had to go through the process of house hunting like you would in any other place. So we went to several places which had small houses and lots. After maybe a few trips back and forth with our broker, we came across a house that we could settle on. We could agree and negotiate a price to our satisfaction and keep it reasonable. It all led to the next step, which is the move. Now, in the house that we were coming from, we had an extra room that I used as a den, which had held all of my albums and videos, because after being here almost 14 years, you have to remember 14 years ago, Spotify might have existed, but I never heard of it. And the streaming services were not as numerous as they are now. So I brought all my DVDs with me. So I had a closet full of DVDs. I had my photo equipment. I had vinyl, speakers, turntables, CD player. In that location that we were in, it fit. Okay, it was in the space, and it didn't interfere or get in the way of anything else. So it was good. The two houses I actually did rent always had space for all my shit. So it was never overcrowded. But we knew that coming to the province, that shit's gonna have to go. And so two things had to take place. One, get rid of it, and the other, find a moving company that I could trust to get the rest of the stuff I was going to take here in one piece. So first thing was finding someone to take all of the vinyl off of my hands. And I was lucky and found someone who was very into vinyl and was able to take it. I cried as it drove away. It took him 2 trips to carry it all. But, once it was gone, it was gone. He also took some of the DVDs. Now the DVDs, since I still had a DVD player that worked, I figured I would have some that I would keep, but most of them were going to go. I kept them in a small chest, one layer, and in that cabinet that I used to hold the TV on. So otherwise, there was not going to be any place that was going to have storage for that, because it didn't make sense. So once those things were gone, and the extra photography equipment that I had, that was also given to a member of the camera club that I belong to. He took those off my hands. And so my load was lessened by a lot, but it still had a lot. I still had a table, a dining room table, I still had a couch, I still had a couple of TVs, I had one full-size bed and one queen-size bed, dishes, pots and pans, glasses, and clothes. So all of these things were going to have to fit in some sort of a van. Now the trick was, once we found out where we were going to be moving to, was finding a van that would be small enough to get down a little path that we would have to go to get to the house, because it's not like I'm on a wide street like I'm in Metro Manila. So it's the province, so there's no street marking. And like I said in the last video, there's no address. In fact, in an upcoming video, I'll explain, or at least tell you, about the address that I have to use. When they ask me for my information, it's name, barangay, and city. That's it. How they're going to find me after that, I'm not sure, but that was all needed. No number, no street, because I have no number in the house, I have no street. Landmarks is all we have. So when I say you come down the Barangay Road and then you make a right at the water station next to the church, go down that lane and you'll find my house. That's it. So I know there are different ways to move. I remember back in New York when I moved from place to place, I'd rent a U-Haul van. I even one time took a shopping cart from the supermarket and moved all my stuff from one apartment 6 blocks away to another apartment. So, those things were fun to do then, but that can't be done here in this particular case. So I did look around. Somebody said, why don't you just hire out a jeepney? I'm kind of like, no, I'm not doing that. Jeepneys don't have insurance. They have Lala Move, which is like a company that moves stuff from here to there, packages, people, because I know somebody who moved a dog. There's options. And then there's traditional moving companies too. So I had to opt for a traditional moving company that I had used once before, actually twice before, to move from one house to the other, and then from the last house to here. It was a lot, but that's to be expected. I don't have complaints. Again, it's an issue of you get what you pay for. I've heard stories of people who tried to go a cheap way and lost half their stuff, or things got damaged in the move because there's no coverage in case of accidents or breakage because they hit a bump and things start shattering. They don't pack for you, that kind of stuff. So these guys, they come in, they pack everything up after they assess what's going to be taken. They know exactly what's going to be done. I even, before I had gotten rid of the vinyl, offered the vinyl to the coordinator for the move, who was like considering it, but then he had to choose between getting the vinyl to take up space or keep that space free for the new baby that was coming. And I'm sure his wife told him, keep the space for the baby. So he turned it down. Anyway, that's a different story. So they came and they moved. They moved us. It took a couple of days, but once the date was set, then we were able to get everything into the truck, move it. The only thing we lost in the move were 2 water containers that somehow broke. And by the time they got here, they were empty. So they were busted water containers. Everything else was fine. No damage. They brought things into the house after they unpacked it. I checked to make sure that everything was in good condition, in one piece, no damage. They signed off, and then after we fed them, because you gotta feed these guys, Um, they left, and we were here. And then that was it. In our new home, with boxes everywhere, still some finishing touches that needed to be done on the house itself. But that's another story for another time. And I will get back to you on that in the next video, which I'll just say, moving in. Until then, that was the move. Moving is hard, it's difficult. The choices you have to make in order to make that actual move, who's going to do it for you, what are you going to take, what are you going to discard. When I think about all that vinyl that I've collected over the last 50 years, now is gone. The DVDs that I famously stacked in corners or had all over the place, even some of those bootleg camcorder jobs that you'd get from the guys who took their camera phone, if they had the camera phone, whatever they did, in the movie, even going down to Makati and getting some of those bootleg DVDs so I could watch the full season of Game of Thrones before I was able to stream HBO to watch it that way. Technology caught up with me, so I had to leave the old stuff behind. I regretted it for a few days, to be honest, but I didn't really have a choice. I didn't want to live among stacks and stacks of stuff that I'm never going to be able to look at and enjoy the same way. So now, because of the different choices you have in terms of technology, I would strongly advise anybody who's thinking of moving here is to choose very carefully what you're going to bring and what you're going to have to leave behind. Because even though I moved here with the intention of never going back, I did bring everything that I owned with me. And now I own less of that because of space and necessity. I don't need to have those things. I have alternatives. So keep those things in mind, and I'll see you next time. And until then, this is Steven from Where Else? Philippines.